Hello students. In today's lecture, we are going to see or study a new topic that is related to water pollution is marine pollution. As we know, the earth is covered with a large amount of water, or the 70% of earth is almost water. Okay. And most of the water which is present in marine ecosystem, I'm talking about surface water sources. So it is important to study marine pollution also because the aquatic life forms can be or these are living in that marine ecosystem also. So what is a marine pollution? So marine pollution can be defined as the introduction of substances or the potentially harmful substances into the marine environment directly or indirectly. We can say with directly or indirectly by humans activity. Okay, so that means the potentially harmful substances into marine environment that interfere with the functioning of the marine ecosystem and that marine environment unfit for the sustaining life. Okay, so that is different pollutants which are responsible for the pollution, and these are impacting or can see adverse effects such as hazards to human health, obstruction of marine activities, and lowering the quality of seawater. So, while the causes of marine pollution may be similar to those general water pollution, but there are some very specific causes that pollute marine water. So, the most of the sources of marine pollution is land based. Okay. So, what are causes or the reasons behind marine pollution? So, the most obvious input of the waste is through a pipes or the we can say a discharge which is uh, passed into a marine ecosystem or to the sea. Okay. So, first one is the normal sediment or the organic matter which can run off into the sea due to rain or any stream. Okay. So that may containing organic discharge or maybe inorganic discharge. The second one is direct discharge to the sea, that is maybe through pipes. Okay. So very often municipal waste and sewage from the residences and hotels in coastal towns are directly discharged into the sea. So that is one of the reason or the causes of marine pollution. The next one is deep sea mining. Okay. So wherever the precious gems, stones, or even a material which is maybe some nuclear materials or the radioactive materials, and many ores are present at the seashore. So for that, the mining is done. The next one is ship pollution. That is ship channels in estuaries and the entrance of the ports often require frequent degrading, uh, that is dredging, not degrading, that is a dredging to keep them open. Okay. So this dredging or dredged material that may contain heavy metal and other contaminants is often dumped at the sea. So nothing but the leftover material or which is pollutants which are present uh, in the ship, that is because of accident and the accidental spillage of the material which is damaging the marine environment. Okay. The next one is the petroleum and oil that is wash off from the roads and nearly enter the sewage system, and with that overflow or that with the flow or discharge, okay, that may enter into a sea. Then ship pollution, that is or that is accident because of the accident and the spillage. Nuclear power plants, as we know, some of the power plants are built near the seashore or very near to the sea because that is far away from the human habitation. And if there is accident or happen at that stage or in that plant, then it will won't affect a human habitation, but it is harmful for the aquatic habitation or the marine ecosystem. Then factory discharge, as we know, the effluents are directly released in the sea water. Then along with that, the pesticides and fertilizers from agriculture, which washed away from the land by rain and enter water courses, eventually they reach the sea. Okay. And the last one is atmospheric pollution, that is many gases and effluents or the pollutants which can settle down on the water surface and they may reach to the aquatic ecosystem. So these are the general reasons or the sources we can say because of the marine pollution is occurred. So these are just a graphical representation of difference. Sorry, not pictorial representation of reasons behind a marine pollution. Along with that, the eutrophication, that means the algal bloom which is spread over the water surface. Then plastic debris, which is because spread it over the accumulated because of the tourist, okay, or the tourism. The next one is the acidification. As we know, the different chemicals or the pesticides, they may penetrate or they may dissolve or not dissolve, but they enter in the aquatic ecosystem that will alter or they change the pH. And as we know, the pH is one of the key factor which is maintaining the metabolic rate. Okay, so that will be a harmful effect can be observed on the ecosystem. And increased toxicity. So, so for example, oil, pesticides, all are acting as a pollutant or toxicant for the fishes. And there is a noise pollution, as we know, the radar system or the sonar rays or the sonar system. It is a noise pollution is there. Now, what are the effects of marine pollution? The first one is oxygen depletion. Now, why oxygen depletion is there, or this kind of effects we can observe? So, the main thing is either because of oil deposition, and the second one is because of a eutrophication. So, first case is oil deposition. So, this oil is forming a layer on the water surface, and that will penetrate, so that will block the oxygen penetration inside the water body. Okay. So main source is tanker operation when the ships carry seawater at ballast of their return journey. Okay. Now the ballast water is stored. Uh, that ballast water is, so that one is the ship pollution. Okay. So that ballast water is stored inside the stored in the cargo compartment. Actually, there are two storing compartments in the ship usually. The first one is ballast, and the other one is for sewage water. So, what is a ballast water or the ballast compartment? It is a fresh or the aquatic, or that is the marine water or the salt water. It is held in the ballast tank. Okay? And that cargo, the ship, that cargo holds of the ship. Now, why they are adding or the why this water is needed to be in the ship? Okay, because to maintain the certain buoyancy in the that aquatic water system. Okay, so when cargo is unloaded, the certain amount of oil remains and clinging to wall of the container. Okay, and that ballast thus become contaminated with oil. Okay, so when fresh cargo of oil is loaded, these compartments are cleaned with water and will discharge the dirty ballast along with oil into the sea. So, by the cleaning, because of the cleaning and the exchange of water, that oil spilled or that come into the ecosystem, that marine water source. So, these other sources including that is dry docking of ship for repair, offshore oil production, and tanker accidents. Okay, so there were different cases of oil spill disasters. Okay, it was one of the incident was recorded in the Exxon Valdez. Okay, in 1989. So it was because of the oil spillage over the sea. And the another one is the deep water horizon oil spill. So this was happened in the Gulf of Mexico because of the oil spill. Okay. Now the another is, or we can say what is the first thing is the oxygen depletion because of the oil spillation. Now what is the effect of oil? How does oil impact bird of live bird? Okay, as you can observe here, the bird is fully submerged in the oil, or there is oil layer. So if liquid oil contaminates bird's plumage, okay, its water repellent properties are lost. Okay, so what is the plumage, or the, you can say, the structure which is present in the birds? Okay, so the plumage is nothing but the feathers which are covering the body. In more biological term, it is called as a plumage. Afterwards, they lost the water repellent properties. Okay, where water then penetrate the plumage and displace the air trap between feathers and skin. This air layer is necessary as it provides buoyancy and thermal insulation. Okay. With this, the plumage becomes water lost and the bird may sink and drown. Even if this does not happen, the loss of thermal insulation result in exhaustion of food reserves in an attempt to maintain body temperature, and that may be followed by death. Okay. Now, birds often clean their plumage by preening gland. So, at the posterior end or another end, there is the preening gland is there. Okay, and that process is that consume the oil, which that depending on its toxicity, and can lead to intestinal, renal, and liver failure. Okay, so the excessive oil can lodge water into their plumage or the feathers. Along with that, when they are pruning or they try to maintain their or try to maintain the oil or the humidity in the feathers. Okay, while pruning, they are ingesting some amount of oil in their body, and because of that, the organ failure can be observed, or the toxicity can be observed. And that was the one reason of oxygen depletion. What is the another reason? It is because of the algal bloom. So once there is algal bloom, or the once there is pollutant, that is maybe in the form of nitrate and phosphate, it is attraction for the algal bloom, and the amount is excessive. That means there is a very fast growth or repetitive the growth can be observed of algal bloom. Now, what happens because of this algal bloom? It is a greatest barrier for the transportation or the exchange of gases, or more often we can say more clearly that it prevent the penetration of oxygen in the aquatic ecosystem. Now, this algal bloom is not commonly seen over the marine ecosystem, but it is commonly observed in the rivers ecosystem or any stagnant water body. Okay. So, of course, this algal bloom is the main competition with the organisms which are living in the ecosystem for oxygen. Okay. The next one is acidification. As we know that the pollutants or the toxicants are changing the physiological parameters or the chemical parameters of the aquatic ecosystem. So, because of pollutants or toxicants, the pH may change. Okay, that may lower down. That is why it is acidification. Now, once there is acidification, as we know, the pH maintenance or the pH balance is more required for the living things to for their metabolic activities. Along with that, it is related to the oxygen concentration in the body. Okay, so that's why the acidification is important. So change in the pH will result to a disturbance in the disturbance in the ecosystem, And suppose if there is a sensitive species which is present in the ecosystem, uh, which is which is sensitive for the pH. Okay, and if there is very slight change in the pH, that species may become extinct. Okay, then blocking of sunlight that we have talked about, the because of the oil spillage and the algal bloom. Along with that, it affects birds. Okay, and choking marine life. So what it is actually, the clogging or the gills of marine species. Okay, that can be happen because of this oil. Okay, the further impacts on commercially important marine species and reducing the market value of seafood. Okay, uh, now if there is a organic sediments are present in a very high amount, in that case the phytoplanktons bloom, that is called as a red tides. Okay, that is causing whole area of the water to be discolored, and as a result of large amount of organic waste. Okay, along with that, what you can observe, that is a tainting. Okay, that is imparts an unpleasant flavor of fish and seafood, and it is detectable even an extremely low level of contamination. So the when even if the marine ecosystem is polluted at a particular region, and they are exporting the food or the fishes, then by knowing the this fish food and smell, or the taste and smell, you can tell there is a contamination. So there is a economic loss from oil silks on fish, and a shellfish production facilities can pose a significant threat to seafood industry. So these are the common effects which you can observe. Along with that, uh, there are so simple effects you can observe. That is, even if the any particular organism, okay, if in the ecosystem washed away or maybe vanished, that will ultimately hamper the whole ecosystem. So the next thing is, how can you control this marine pollution? What is your role can control marine pollution? So proper use of chemical, or how can we control simple oil pollution? So cleaning oil from surface water and contaminated beaches in a long time is a long time consuming and labor intensive process. So natural process of emulsification of oil in water can be accelerated through the use of chemical, that is dispersions, okay, which can be sprayed on the oil. Okay, and that the second thing is what you can do, the proper dumping of waste. That organic waste should not be thrown or they release in the seawater. Okay, and beach cleanups, that the small initiative can be taken by individuals or the people that can clean beaches, so even the plastic contamination we can prevent. Okay, and the last one is campaigning that usually people do. And the very important thing is education, public awareness. Okay, so as an educated person, we can do that. That is education or the public awareness. So these things we can do to maintain or to control the oil pollution, sorry, marine pollution in the aquatic ecosystem.